Namaste. Welcome back to Rāmānuja Refutation series, video 18 out of 100, where we continue to expose the theological and logical collapse of Rāmānuja's Gītā Bhashya in the light of Shruti Pramana and also Smriti Pramana. Today we continue with Rāmānuja's commentary on 212. Rāmānuja continues to say, Evamatrapi Advaita Jnanena Badhitam Veda Jnanam Anuvartamanamapi Mithyartha Vishayatva Nishchayat Na Upadeshadi Pravritti Hetuhu Bhavati Na cha Ishwarasya Purvam Magnasya शास्त्राधिगत तत्वज्ञानतया बाधितानुवृत्तिः शक्यते वक्तुम् यः सर्वज्ञः सर्ववित् परास्य शक्तिः विविधाय श्रूयते स्वाभाविकी ज्ञानबलक्रिया च वेदाहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि चार्जुन भविष्याणि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन इति श्रुति स्मृति विरोधात्. Here what Rāmānuja says is, Bhagavan cannot really become ignorant and that ignorant cannot really become Bhagavan. And for this he quotes Mundaka Upanishad Shruti, Shvetashvata Upanishad Shruti and then Bhagavad Gītā. And finally he says Shruti Smriti Virodhat. This whole thing what is said by Advaitins is opposed to Shruti and Smriti. Here the joke is he uses Shruti Smriti Virodhat, aping Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya ji, but this whole thing is actually Pañcharātra Virodha. Let me explain. Rāmānuja argues, if Brahman is all-knowing, how can that Brahman become the jīva who is ignorant? And from these, he constructs a straw man. Advaita implies Bhagavan becomes ignorant and Bhagavan becomes liberated. This is not just a misunderstanding, but a fundamental failure to grasp the teaching of the Vedānta Shastra. All this collapses under one line of Bhagavān Krishna. kṣetrajñaṁ mīmāṁ viddhi. May you know me as a knower in all bodies. Remember, Bhagavān Krishna does not say, may you know that jivas to be plural. Bhagavān Krishna does not say, I am distinct from all these jivas. And he does not say, I am sitting in Vaikuntha, reaching which alone is moksha. This is unmistakable non-duality. Not qualified, not limited, not dualistic. Bhagavān Krishna even makes it clearer. Brahma gneyam param nasat tannasat jnatva yat amritam ashrute. Knowledge alone liberates, and the knowledge is that of Brahman, and that Brahman is only to be understood gneyam, and this understanding is not that of a deity sitting in Vaikuntha, but as nirguṇa. Result of this knowledge is direct moksha. So I ask, did Rāmānuja understand what Bhagavān Krishna taught? Because he quotes Bhagavad Gītā to support plurality, but skips Bhagavān Krishna's clear teaching. Rāmānuja imagines that Advaita is Bhagavan becoming Jīva and the Jīva becoming Bhagavan, whereas this is quite opposite of what the actual teaching of the Vedānta Shastra is. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam iva cha sthitam. Bhagavān Krishna clearly points out the ontological status of the division and the absoluteness of Advaita, in understanding which there is no real becoming, there is no real beginning, there is no real end, there is no real bondage, there is no real travel after death, there is no realm called Vaikuntha really remaining, there is no real transformation of Brahman. This is Advaita, the direct teaching of the Vedānta Shastra. Yet Rāmānuja deliberately distorts it to set up an easy target. Let's understand the whole approach of Rāmānuja this way. Suppose a child is fixated that 2 plus 2 equals to 3. Even when the teacher explaining patiently, the child clings to his wrong notion. If that child grows stubborn enough, he may proceed to reject the teacher, start his own school of mathematics, create the theology that 2 plus 2 equals to 3, find other predecessors around the world who have concluded this way and declare them as their guru and call them as authorities. This is what exactly happened here. The fixation of self-righteousness, then a new Pañcharātric system built on rejection of the actual Shastra. Rāmānuja has really got no importance for Vedānta Shastra. Remember, saying things don't mean it. The real reason Rāmānuja rejects the direct teaching of the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gītā is not logic but the commitment to Pañcharātra, the fivefold structure, as per which there is Para, Vyuha, Vibhava, Antaryāmin, Arca. Para is the highest, the deity Vishnu. He force fits these 5 buckets into the Vedānta Shastra and tailors a whole philosophy and writes this whole commentary in such a way that the whole Vedānta Shastra is there to validate the sectarian booklet Pañcharātra. So when Shruti clearly says Purusha eva idam vishwam in Mundaka Upanishad, which he actually quoted Shruti from, then they take it directly meaning the Antaryāmin, the fourth of the fivefold structure. And whenever Parabrahma is talked about, they take the first of the fivefold structure, directly correlating it with the deity called Vishnu. by their often used great means of knowledge called correlation and causation. Even in Bhagavad Gītā, the direct statements of Bhagavan Krishna that Vasudeva Sarvam is interpreted as merely description of Antaryāmi aspect, which is one among the fivefold structure. But the top para for him always remains the special deity Vishnu. That Shastra being Pramana is clearly misunderstood by Rāmānuja, because here Veda Shastra is Swatav Pramanam. Vedānta Shastra is not an Anga and Pañcharātra is not the Angi. Not Pañcharātra is an Anga Bhuta Shastra to understand Vedanta. Shastra alone is the primary pramana and not any sectarian manual. In fact, these sectarians go to an extent to even equate this Pañcharātra with Veda, only points out immaturity. It is clear manipulation. This whole framework of Rāmānuja doesn't reveal philosophical strength, but a deeper psychological need. Need for superiority, the need for a supreme deity, the need for a supreme afterlife abode, the need for a group identity, insecurity masked as theology. Promising supremacy after death attracts people trapped in life's miseries. But this has nothing to do with the Vedantic scriptures. This whole fivefold Pañcharātra gradation that para, the deity Vishnu, is above, and then come Vyuha, Vibhava, Antaryāmin, and the Antaryāmin description is what Upanishads are talking about. This helps them place themselves above the people who actually follow the Upanishad and understand them how it is to be understood, makes their sectarian guidebook above the literature of the Sanatana Dharma and a dependent literature for the Upanishad teaching to be complete, which massages their own inferiority complex. Remember, here the actual Virodha, as Rāmānuja said, that Advaita is not having a Virodha with Shruti or Smruti, but Rāmānuja's Pañcharātra has the actual Virodha with Shruti Smruti. Because Shruti Smruti directly reveal Advaita. The problem is this Vedanta scripture is not a direct pramana for Rāmānuja. The commitment is more towards Pañcharātra, the fivefold structure, the four Vyuhas, etc. And remember the rule, Swatav Pramanam Shastra. And by the direct Vakyas of Shruti, Purusha eva idam sarvam, Brahma eva idam sarvam, and Smriti, Vasudeva sarvam, the fivefold structure of the Pañcharātra falls. The whole thing stands negated. In fact, this clever tailoring of theology around the Vedanta Shastra is an actual trap for beginners. They are made to feel overwhelmed by the appearance of this clan, the way they dress up, the way they put namam all over the body, none of which actually is a true pointer of wisdom. Remember, Bhagavān Krishna says, Mithyacharas sauchyate. Hypocrisy is not the goal of Vedanta Shastra. They first lay the foundation of the fivefold structure, the Pañcharātra, the four Vyuhas, and then look at the actual Vedanta Shastra. And hence, whenever they listen to the Vakyas like the Bhagavan is the only thing, Bhagavan is everything, Vasudeva Sarvam, they have clearly bracketed this idea of Shastra into the fivefold structure as a description of the fourth aspect, the Antaryāmi, among the five. Let's remember, living a free life is about acceptance of facts and not fueling the wrong side, living in denial, hypocrisy. Vedanta demands acceptance of Shastra, doesn't need supplementation from a sectarian guidebook Pañcharātra. Actual growth demands letting go of fixation with respect to asat. If this is not done, the result is Rāmānuja. The Upanishads reveal non-duality, which has to be taught from a guru who is non-sectarian, unbiased and jnananishta, Brahmanist. Sectarians show put up hypocrisy won't take us anywhere. Is mere mithyachara and takes us away from the real inner growth. Om Tat Sat.